Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mayur and in this series we are going to solve SQL 50 questions from LeetCode, and today we are on our 20th question. So let's dive in. The question name is monthly transactions 1. It's a really good question. It was asked in companies like Uber, Adobe, Wayfair, Wish, so nice companies. This is a classic example of writing good queries. It will be a big query, but I'll show you how we'll break it down in small parts and we'll be able to achieve our final query. So let's start the question. In this question we have one table. We have 5 columns in it: ID, country, state, amount and trans date. Okay, ID is the primary key. Okay, and the state column has enumerate, which means either it is approved or declined. So we have to write an SQL query to find for each month and country. When it says for each month and country, that means I have to group it by month and country. The number of transactions, and which means I have to count the transactions, and the total amount, which means I have to sum the amount. The number of approved transactions, again the count, and their total amount, again sum of the approved transactions, result in any order. Okay, so here is the output. Let's start writing. Select. So in select we'll write the columns which we want in output. So here you can see the first column is month. Okay, and they are want in this format, which means the year and the month. Okay, and we have a trans date over here. So what we need to do, we need to extract it from this column, right? So to extract it, we can use the function date format. This is something new which we are learning today. Date format of which column? Of the trans column, trans date column, trans date. Okay, so date format, it's the column from which we are extracting, and now I'll write what I want from it. So I want only the, as you can see, the year and the month. So I'll write year, y for year, dash, and month. Okay, you can see I did not use caps for month. I'll show you why I did not do this. Just keep that in mind because it changes the output. And okay, and we'll call this column as month. Okay, so our first column is ready, month is ready. So we'll move on to the second column, which is what? Country. So we have country as a column as it is, so we don't need to do anything there. So I'll just write it over here, country. Okay, now we'll try to create the third column, which is trans count. Trans count means what? I want the count of the transactions, which means nothing but I need to count the IDs, right? This is the transaction table. So if I count the IDs, I'll get the count of transactions. So I'll just use count of the ID. I'll call this as trans count. Okay, now let's try to make fourth column, which is approved count. Okay, so here I have a condition that the state has to be approved. We have seen this in old question. I'll use case over here. Okay, so I need the count again. So okay, I'll write count, and I'll write case when state is equal to approved. Okay, then when the state is approved, I need to count it, right? Then I need to count the ID, and whenever I write or we write case, we have to end it, end as approved count. Okay, now let's try to write the fifth column, which is trans total amount, which means I need to sum it here, right? So it has a sum of transaction total amount. Okay, so sum of transaction, what is it? Transaction total amount. So I just need to sum the amount. So this is the total amount, this is for everything. Okay, so I'll just sum amount over here, normal as it is, and I'll call this as trans total amount. This is our fifth column, right? 1 2 3 4 5, and we'll write the sixth column, which is approved total amount. So since it is total, I'll use the sum function again, but here I want only for approved, right? So case when state is equal to approved, then you count what? We count the amount. That's it, and I'll end it as approved total amount. T. Rest is easy. From which transaction? From which table? We want it from the transactions table, because the name of the table is transactions. Correct. Now we got all our columns, TRANSACT, transactions, and I need to group it because they have mentioned in the question for each month and country, right? So I have to group it. So you see why I'm writing it like this, because this when you do big queries, when you start writing big queries, it is easier for you to edit it. If I write all these lines in one single line, no, that will be very hectic for you to edit. This like this you can edit it properly. That's why I do this, select and enter and shift it, so that I can know what I'm writing over here. So group by, I want it by the month and country, month comma country. Let's try to run this. We got a wrong answer. Okay, approved came null. Something is wrong. Okay, APPRO, spelling mistake. ED, accepted. Let's try to submit it. We got wrong again. What's the expected is approved total amount went null. Okay, approved total amount and state. We got something wrong over here. Approved total amount, I'm using sum, right? Okay, let's try to write this. 0. Let's try to submit. Yeah, got it. This beats 67% of the code. That is nice. Okay, so you see, this was actually a really good question. You see, it turns out to be a pretty big query, but if we break it down, it is actually very easy. Okay, now I wanted to show you one thing, why I have used here small m, because in output, you see, I want just the number of the month. That's why I'm using small m over here. If I did capital M, let's see how we get our output. So the output becomes December, then the whole word comes December. I don't want that in the output, so that's why I write small m over here. Similarly, for the year as well, I want the whole year 2018. That's why I've written capital Y over here. If I change it to small y, it will give me a short form of 2018, which is nothing but 18. And again, our answer will be wrong, 1812. I don't want that. We want capital Y. Let's try to submit. Yeah. So this was the 20th question, and the key takeaways of this question is only these 5 lines. That's it. Rest is easy. You see, since we wanted only the year and the month, so I used date format function over here, and the column name from which I want the format, and what I want just the year and the month. I have given it a name month, country as it is, and when the next column was the count of the transactions, which is nothing but the IDs, right? If I count the IDs, it is nothing but the count of transactions. So what I did was count of ID as transaction count, and the fourth column would be count, approved count, how many are approved. So it is very easy. I've just cased over here. When state equal to approved, then you count id, right? Count id end as approved count. And the fifth one will be trans total amount. See, here it is total. There is no condition like it has to be approved or declined. That's why I've just simply just what did sum of amount. That's it, as trans total amount. Similarly, the sixth column. So this was actually a very good question. At the end of this series, I have bookmarked few questions for you, which will be really helpful for you guys. If you don't need to solve the whole 50 if you don't have time. And you can just go through my bookmarked questions. Those will be really helpful for interview preparations. So I hope you are liking my solutions and videos. Do like and comment down, please. Thank you so much for watching my videos. Have a nice day.